Yes, here we are. Hey, hello everyone. Thanks for having me. This was a very lucky coincidence that we are here working with the 50 years spotting of Ruigoord celebration. So this meeting is for me very much in the field that I work. That's all it's a gift. I will tell something about the work that we are about to be doing. We are starting our research in one from now, so we are giving you a preview with the work as the working title bulk, because we are researching the bulk goods that come into the harbour, which are mostly fossil fuels or cocoa, and all these stuffs. They are devoid of their history. So what comes here is sort of bulk goods. It's not even named after the material that it is, it's just named after the sheer volume. So it's completely dehistoricized, so to speak. And we are trying to sort of give back up the word, try to give the attention to sort of the voices that it still has, even though we have tried to dehistoricize it. We're doing this from sort of a chemical perspective, and Frank will speak on this in a minute. And before I will tell you something more about the Energy of the North Sea, who we are and what we do and what we do it. This is a picture from the founding of the Energy of the North Sea almost 5 years ago in The Hague at the Laken for Hart. This is the very chic street where all the embassies are. This is our flag. This is the building where actually the first Dutch king, when he came from England, spoke to the Dutch people from this building. This is a very historically important building, and that's why we founded the embassy in 2018, 1st of June, I founded it there. A lot of people think that this is actually our office, and I think that is a very good thing. So why did we found the Embassy of the North Sea? Because, that's Nirma also said, we believe that the North Sea should belong to itself. Because when we look at the Netherlands, at the map, we never see it like this. But the Netherlands is a delta. And actually the sphere of influence of the Netherlands, 60% of the land mass, so to speak, is actually the North Sea. But we tend to see the North Sea as something outside of us, as something beyond the delta roads, beyond the dikes, as something where we can sort of outsource the things that we do not like to have on land, like wind parks, Schiphol, the airport, drilling, etc. And we think that the way now sort of the environmental policies are made do not really work for the North Sea. Because a lot of things are made in the sense of reservations, like putting the line to that 2000 area. We think we should think of it as a negotiation. The negotiation of two parties that are equal, like two autonomous states. So therefore we named ourselves the Embassy of the North Sea, as if we are already the representative of this entity. It's not your entity. And we did this. We started in 2018 and we invited people from the arts, but also from politics, policymakers, lobbyists, with a very official looking invite. Because the thing is, we are a collective of artists, scientists, policymakers, lawyers, but we are con artists, so to speak. So we are luring people into believing that this is real. And I'm always very happy when I get an email that says, Mr. Ambassador, just to be sure. That happens. And at this point there were also people there from the World Fisheries Lobby, because people are sort of, is this real, is this not real? And I think this is a very good place to be at. So sort of the science fiction that is almost real. But this was our first meeting, the first gathering, and we had this set up and we asked people that joined us, people from environmental movement, but also oil and fisheries lobby, to speak on behalf of something, some non-human entity. A seagull, the mass of salt in the water, the cables that run through the water, just sort of out of the blue, try to do this negotiation. Obviously we failed wonderfully or miserably at it. So this is the setting. So these people didn't want to be in the picture because they are in function. And this showed us a very important thing. So how terribly difficult it is what we are trying to do. So how important actually the listening is that we have to be doing. Because if we want to have a mandate as areas of the North Sea, we are supposed to be hearing what are those that we represent are saying to us. They should definitely be able to say, you're doing it wrong, or you have to do it in such and such a way. But those peoples are, for instance, shoals of herring, zooplankton. So how do you listen to these? That is the main question that we started with the first 4 years. This is a work from that line of work that I presented at the Museum of Arnhem. And this is sort of the first step, so to speak, where we are listening to all sounds of soundscape that is actually the soundscape of the museum, but that is all sounds that we cannot hear with the naked ear. And we, with our human senses, cannot hear. And there's a little map that you can also take, and then if you do the walk, you can hear for yourself that it's actually not audible. So I will let you hear a little bit of the soundscape that is there. So what you're hearing are infrasounds, ultrasound, sounds below the ground, sounds very close to. There was a little mussel reef in the IJssel, which we'll hear how important these reefs are in a minute. But sounds also from electromagnetic signals. So it's not so much that other creatures hear it like this, but then there is this soundscape or this sensory scape that is around us. And this line of work is also what Frank is doing, so he will tell us more about the scent part of this sensory work. Then sort of there's the other main focus that we're doing, which is more about policy and which is more about law. So these are our scholars of law, Davina Missenjan and Laura Burgers. They are here at the Hem in Amsterdam, where we presented an open day of the Embassy of the North Sea, where we had also officers of one embassy of the North Sea. Suriname, this is the desk of legal affairs. And we are looking into something that is often called the rights of nature movement, which is sort of an agglomerate of cases where non-human natural subjects are becoming legal person. There's now the first example in Europe. It's the Mar Menor lagoon in Murcia, it's in the south of Spain. And so also from this work we are working together with water representatives from Spain, but also from Poland, from Norway, but people that are thinking along the lines of making sure that these bodies of water are becoming their own legal person. We also made a book about this, where we can look into how different all these legal personal cases are actually. Then I would quickly tell something about this work in the Peace Palace in The Hague, which is also another moment where we are exactly on the verge of is this real or is this fiction. We organized a moot court where we sued hypothetically the Dutch state for underrepresenting the North Sea. And what we did, we used a lot of the artworks and the fieldwork that we have been doing, that we accumulated over these years. We used it as evidence. So the North Sea could be heard, could be a witness, or could be a complaint. There was an actual judge there. She was also part of the agenda trial. There were also two advocates, two lawyers, and the director of the peace palace also made it very clear: you have to make sure that this is a moot court, this is hypothetical, because if we would have left out this word, it would have been almost real. I think this is a very good point for us to be at, that we can make these non-human voices resound in political sphere. So let's invite Frank with his sentence.
Yes, okay. Yeah, so I was asked in the beginning, first year of the embassy of the North Sea, to do a search for smells from and around the North Sea. So what kind of smells could you find there? There is, of course, obviously like seaweed and things, but when you go to the beach, you will see that there is much more things to smell. The industry, there is horse manure, there is ships, there is diesel, there is all kinds of smells. I all included it. This was the first exhibition on the beach in Scheveningen. It was the first 20 cents, and it ended up in the first year to be 40 cents in total. And then after exhibiting it quite often, we made it into a perfume. So there is now a perfume of the North Sea, which is, well, it is kind of a walk along the beach, not only pleasant smells, but there are also some hints of more, not unpleasant. Unpleasant is a bad thing. When you think of perfume, there is always some unpleasantness in there. And that's also with this project. Well, this is how it worked. You could pump and you could smell the ingredients. Sometimes, like this is weed, seaweed that was actually there. Sometimes it was a single molecule that you could smell, like dimethyl sulfide, which is an ingredient that comes from the sea and that you can sense when you drive towards the beach. At a certain point, you sense the sea. That's dimethyl sulfide, and in its pure form, it smells a bit like surimi sticks. I don't know if you know them. That's what you should think of. So I'll tell a bit about the project that we're going to do here for Ruigoord. We're going to make a setup based on this idea or this knowledge of these instruments that are positioned along the whole of the North Sea Canal, the North Sea Channel. And what could this be? Have you any idea? Gases? What is this? A nose. Who says that? Yeah, good. One person is paying attention. This is a nose. There is one, but there's not one nose along the whole North Sea Channel. There is many noses that sense what's going on, what chemicals are being released by all the ships that are coming in, and also the company or the industry that's located here, and they monitor if there is some change in the air, some molecules are being released. And this is specifically important because these ships full of bulk come in, enter the North Sea Canal in Muiden. They come here and they have to get rid of the stuff that's inside them here in the harbor. And before they do so, they want to get rid of all the fumes that have been building up in the trip from where the bulk comes from. So what they do, they open the Ruigoord hatches. They open the hatches before they enter the harbor. So sometimes people that live here smell horrible things, and it has to do with the illegal opening of them. And all these noses are kind of tracking what's happening there. And we will make a setup. What comes next? Oh, that's you, sorry, I'll go back, yeah. We'll be making the setup, of similar instruments that will release some smells. And one of the smells that will be released is cis-3-hexanol. I'm going to talk swiftly about cis-3-hexanol, and I will let you smell it. I'll turn it on. First, I will let you smell it. Okay. That's good. So. Takes a while. Hoe smells dat? Oh, goed. Wil je eens kijken? Ja. In the back house already. Where is it now, please? Heads up, who smells it? Oh, it's far already. Yeah. Good, so it. Do you want more? So what do we smell? What do we smell? What? Cut grass? Other things? You said diesel. That's kind of the two opposites that I'm looking for. So that's good. Good, well smelled. Other associations? What? Banana peel, yeah. Good. So what is happening in plants? When a leaf is being attacked by a caterpillar, for instance, on the outside of the leaves there's enzymes, and on the inside of the leaves there is fats, plant fats. And by chewing on them, this caterpillar mixes the enzymes with the fats. And what happens? These fats are long chains of carbon atoms. They're being cut in smaller chains. And these smaller chains go in the air, and that's called cis-3-hexanol. And it's kind of a way for a plant to signal that there is something happening that the plant doesn't like. So it needs help. It's kind of a communication system from the plant to attract, in this case, some bees that come and lay eggs in the caterpillar and thereby kill it. So there is all kind of ways of plants to signal, say, oh, I need help. Well, it doesn't help when the grass is being mowed, but that's exactly the same that is happening then. Its molecules are being formed. You think when you crush a leaf that the smell is already in there, but it's not. It's being formed on the moment. And this system is also what you smell in petrol. You have here in the harbour, we have these very big constructions that contain massive amount of petrol, and the smells from the petrol are actually signals from millions of years ago from plants that produced this petrol. And for us, the starting point of the project that we're going to do here is this idea of nature and not nature. We consider petrol not a natural product. Well, in fact, it is a natural product. Lots of things that we don't consider nature are nature. And this harbour is full of bulk materials that in fact are nature and sometimes even give these signals from plants that grew millions of years ago in the sea. And that's what you smell from the smell of petrol. So that's my part. I think you go under your feet and will show a bit what it is going to look like. And please visit the installation when it is in a month.
I will feedback. I'll quickly show something about what lives on these ships, because the ships they bring in these bulk goods which are sort of this is life or lost life, but there's a lot of living on these hulls. They are sort of floating reefs. And I would like to point to this work by Xander van der Eyck, which he made also for us. We're shown at the Miami of Sydney, Australia. This work is called Ghost Reef, and it is about North Sea reefs, because very little is known about the reefs in the North Sea. There are a lot of researchers about the cool reefs, like the Great Barrier Reef. That's why it was also so good to be in Sydney, where that is relatively close. But we know very, very little. So Xander he asked divers to visit these reefs and made video recordings and sound recordings. But it was way too dangerous to be underwater longer than, say, 20 minutes because of the tides, and the current would be too much to handle. So we couldn't make videos, so we made it into a sort of 3D scan, also to show that you can take a look at these reefs, but you can't really grasp them. So that's also why the title goes. And I would like to let you listen to two of these different reefs. So you hear this crackling, and very little is known about this, but we do know that this is a sign of a healthy reef, and that each reef has sort of its own sonic signature, so you can find the reef by how it sounds. I mean, that was the theory for the Great Barrier Reef, and it seems to be true also for cold water reefs as well. This is quite a different reef, where there's a lot of noise, of shipping noises. And you hear it clearly. Because we know that also the small larvae, they also attach to the reefs on the basis of the sound, so they recognize a healthy reef by this clicking sound. So this is way emptier, deader reef. And which is, from a sound studies perspective, is very interesting. There's now somebody from the Institute for the Sea Research is researching these sounds, but not on the basis of visuals, because it's so difficult to get visuals, but solely on the basis of sound recordings. So only by categorizing sounds, she is trying to get at what it is that we are hearing. That is very interesting. It's destructive. So this is also what is happening on these boats. So try to capture these sounds and see if we can get these, how much life we find. Then quickly about what we will see. We will have this big yellow blob, which is sort of our totem. This is called the sea mouth of the zeehoorn. And this is a scale model of an otolith, a hearing bone of a fish. This is, say, 2,000 times blown up, and it's sort of our totem, but you can also listen to the water-based voice of the fish. And this is what Frank was hinting at, so we are going to put up this sort of land measurement tools, but it's a sort of reverse analysis, showing perfectly sound. These sets into the atmosphere, and to tell stories of these dog materials, to give sort of this background, to give it a history that it actually is a plant still, and that it came from somewhere, and that we can sort of still listen to its voices if you only. Thank you very much.